He's our secretary, CTRA secretary. Mark, all yours.
All right, Manny, thank you very much. I hope everyone, can you guys all hear me okay? Everybody in the room hear me? All right, good. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of our panelists for being here and all of you for attending today. You know, as believers in God, as we all are, it pains us to see anyone suffer. It doesn't matter where they came from or what they look like. When they're hurting, we hurt as well. And we can debate about how we got here and who's to blame, but none of that really matters right now. The only thing that does is that we have the responsibility to fix it. That is a responsibility that many Republicans have abdicated in the past. We're just as guilty as the Democrats are that we left behind, who have been destroying our once thriving cities for the last 40 and 50 years. And I totally understand their fear of going into some of these areas where when you see a red light, you don't stop, because I've driven through some of these neighborhoods. It's real. Some of these places are literally hells on earth. But as believers who understand that God lives within us and that we are His hands and feet, the time has come for Republicans to stop running from hell and to start bringing heaven to it. That is the goal of today's panel, to learn how we can reach people in our largest cities who have voted Democrat all their lives without thinking twice, and to get them to break the pattern. And just as importantly, how to do it in a way that completely destroys the Republicans don't care about you myth that the media in Hollywood have painted about us. So without further ado, let's introduce today's panelists. Our first contributor has an associate's degree in business management and a master's degree in criminal justice. He works as a juvenile detention officer for the state of Connecticut, as a psychiatric technician for Charlotte Hartford Hospital in Torrington, and is a small business owner. He has served the city of Waterbury as the secretary of the Citizens Advisory Committee, and is a former board member of the Waterbury National Alliance of Mental Illness. He is also the ambassador of the Connecticut Commission of Culture and Tourism, and currently serves as a member of the Inland Wetlands Commission and the Waterbury RTC. Would you please give a warm welcome to Bernard Bailey? Our next panelist has been politically active ever since he was a member of the Kitty Brigade, where he raced up and down the streets of Bethel handing out campaign literature. He has served his hometown on the boards of selectmen, education, tax review, and currently on the Board of Assessment Appeals. He is a former chairman of the Bethel RTC, a former chairman of the Connecticut College Republicans, and a former state rep of Connecticut's 2nd District, which covers Bethel, Reading, and Newtown. Seems like the guy can't hold down a job. Would you please give a warm welcome to our current State Central Rep in State Senate District 26, Will Duff. Next, we have our youngest panelist. In fact, we have one of the youngest Republicans ever to be elected to public office here in Connecticut. At 2017, at the ripe old age of 20, this bright young man won a seat on the Middletown's Board of Education. He followed up that win with another victory in 2019, when he earned enough votes to win a seat on the Common Council. He also serves Middletown as a commissioner on its Affirmative Action Monitoring Committee, a youth minister, a mentor, a counselor, and an anti-bullying advocate. Please welcome the ever-inspiring Ed Ford Jr. Outreach pastor for nearly 30 years. When she lived in New York City, she served on the Tenant Association Board, the New York City Housing Board, and Mayor Dinkins' Youth Advisory Board. She currently lives in Meriden, where she serves as a member of the Human Rights Advisory Board and the Commission for Persons with Disabilities. She's an advocate for children and victims of rape and domestic abuse, and she also serves as our organization's 2nd Vice President and chaplain. Would you please give a round of applause to CTRA's own Reverend Ernestine Holloway. And our final panelist has been a Waterbury resident for nearly 20 years, and for the past 6, he's been sharing our Republican values with people in our state's most diverse communities. In 2014, he co-founded and chaired the Latino National Republican Coalition of Connecticut. 1 year later, Senator Len Fasano appointed him to the Commission on Equity and Opportunity, where he served for 2 years. He currently serves as the chairman of the 72nd District on the Waterbury RTC, and is running to be the Republican candidate for Congress in the 5th District, where he hopes to unseat Jahan Hayes before she gets too comfortable in that seat. Please have a warm welcome to Ruben. So let's We're going to start off the conversation let's just pretend for a moment that nobody in this room understands anything about what happened to our cities, how they got there. You guys are in these towns, you know what people are going through. What are people in these towns telling you are their most important issues?
Well, I'll start and I'll have the microphone. Well, one of the things that we have to understand, and I can speak about the Latino community, and is that each town has a different way of speaking to those communities. Latinos are divided in different categories. And, some, like, if you talk to Puerto Ricans, you're going to talk about jobs, and you're going to talk about education. When you talk about South America, Central America, you talk about immigration, and that's the way that they're separated from each other. Caribbean, you guys speak a different language than when you talk to a person that is Central or South America. And that's how the difficulty myself gets into the different language that I go. Like Waterbury is mostly populated by Puerto Ricans. Danbury is mostly populated by Central and South Americans. So it's a different way. So that's how I reach out to those people, and the way that we have to communicate with those people in different ways.
I think for a lot of communities of color, minority communities, specifically the African American community, the main issues for us is just exactly what Ruben just said about Latino communities, is education and jobs. What community doesn't want those two things? We need those things to strive, to thrive, to build for a better future for our kids. We don't want to be overtaxed into oblivion. We want to start businesses too that aren't going to be over-regulated into oblivion, where we can't grow and prosper. So there's just a lot of different things that we have in common with every other community. We want the same things that's going to help us to have a prosperous and bright future in life in this country that we live in. And for us, a big thing, for me, a big thing that I do to reach my community is show up. I'm there talking with them, listening to them and their concerns, and then trying to collaborate on solutions, on policy, something tangible that will actually help them to move forward. So this is just the beginning. We're going to get into some great things. I hope everybody has a pen and paper or a cell phone to take some notes, because these are some things that we need to learn how to do as a party, I believe, going forward.
Well, I'd like to start by saying, when I was campaigning through Danbury, which is part of the 2nd District, I was communicating with a number of Hispanics, and being a fellow Hispanic, we kind of relate a number of issues to one issue that rang out time and time again: jobs, the economy. And just to give you a little insight of what I experienced in Danbury, I came upon this house, and young Marisol was the only legal resident in the house. And when I asked her, she said she was going to support me. I asked her if I could put up a yard sign. She wanted a Donald Trump sign. And I had that, Donald Trump, okay. I can get you money for this. I want Donald Trump. Well, why do you want Donald Trump? I want a wall. I said, I want a wall. I want a wall 100 feet high. I said, why do you want a wall 100 feet high? I'm on this side of the wall. You got to remember, this is, I'm not trying to tell a joke, this is what happened. And I was kind of perplexed. We had another candidate that spoke out against Donald Trump in Danbury, and my headquarters was in Bethel. I had 3 people from Danbury drive over with her signs to get Donald Trump signs and put it back on their lawn. There's a difference of mentality out there, and I know the media is pushing a story, but you got to go far beyond that. You actually have to talk to the actual residents themselves. They are just as human as you and I. They have the same needs as you and I. And the one thing that rang out time and time again is this economy in Connecticut. Everybody's being affected. And we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Hello, good afternoon. You know me, I'm Reverend Ernestine Holloway. I want to say this. The talk is the same. The language is what's different. The problem with the Republican Party reaching urban voters, first of all, is not the ghetto. It's offensive. Stop saying that. Them, those, they, you. Stop saying all that crazy stuff. Because we are one one nation under God. Stop saying it's the hood. I could say that, but I prefer that you don't. There are some things that I am privileged to say and probably shouldn't say that you can't say because of the language. And it's not about color. Because guess what? Not only blacks, Latinos are not the only ones that live in the urban city. There's a lot of white, there's a lot of Irish, there's a lot of Polish. I know. Because I grew up in the projects, and guess what? Polish people live there, Irish people live there, Italians live there. And it's a myth. You know, I often say, the guy in Florida won. And stop saying this too. They all get government handouts, that they won't be Republicans. Well, guess what? Those people that get handouts, guess what they all have in common? They have kids that go to school. And every mother wants their child to go to a decent school. So the problem is, the Republicans don't know the history of the party. If you knew the history of the Republican Party, some of the things you would not say. And if you learned the party and the history, then you can educate me on, well, you know, your people were in the party, and this is what the Latin Americans did, and the revolutionary when it was coming about. This is what the African Americans did when they came to the party. And stop saying, because you all said to me, I can't believe that you're African American and you're Republican. I got news for you. In Meriden, there's over 2,000 African American Republicans, and most of the Catholics are Republicans. So stop saying that.
So I know you talked about what happened to the cities, right? So basically what happened to the cities is that we have a lot of blacks, we have a lot of Hispanics, but we don't have any big cheerleaders, we don't have any big community activists talking about the issues that these folks are dealing with, or the issues that the city is dealing with, you know? People just think that, okay, you know, you have to be a Democrat to actually talk about these city issues, even though we all live in these city issues, we pass by, we end up dining there, and things like that. But who's the person that's going to just have basic conversations, you know, just to outreach and say, what are some of your issues here? And what are some of the things, you know, that the city needs to do, or what are some of the problem issues, right? So if we have people that would just, you know, we have basic folks, you know, Republicans, just to go out and just talk to everybody, see what is actually going on. You know, you don't have to be like a big scholar to actually go and talk to, like, you know, like all the urban voters. You know, we just need people just to go out there, talk to people, see what's going on, get these things addressed, and pretty much try to move forward. And then after that, if that person wants to run for public office, you know, you actually have some information, you actually have some experience of talking to actually see what's going on, so that you can kind of sway people to vote for you.
So along those lines, it seems like a lot of folks, you know, the big issues that these folks really care about are jobs and education, and that's something that I've kind of learned too in some of the research that I've done about this topic. Another thing you guys mentioned is, you know, we need to talk to these folks in these towns, but many people don't really know exactly how to broach these subjects. You know, we all know we need to talk to them, but how exactly do we need to talk to them? This is basically one of the questions we got from the audience. How can we specifically reach out to inner city voters?
It's really simple, and it's done by the Democrats all the time. We don't just go there and say, I'm here, I'm gonna talk to you guys. No, you go directly. There's leaders in all those communities, a pastor, a community leader that does different things that are in those communities that can't reach out to those people. Like right now, myself, I cannot just go to the community of the African Americans and say, hey, I'm here, I want to talk to you guys. No, I'll go to this gentleman, Ed, I'll go to somebody, Ernestine, or one of those people that are in those communities. Reach out to them first, and they'll take you to those people. And they'll have meetings with those people and talk about what you need to do to reach out to us, you know. And I learned it through the times, you know. When I came here, this is a great state, it's a purple, like a lot of people say, but we need to reach out to those people that we have not done, to reach out to, especially the pastors. Pastors, you know how many times right now I've been in different churches talking to the Spanish pastors, and they told me, well, Ruben, you're the first candidate, Republican, that have come to my church to ask for help. The first one. How many years we've been in this state? It's the way that we reach out to them. And the first thing you guys got to learn is reach out to those leaders. Find out who those leaders are and reach out to them.
And get them to introduce you, exactly.
And just going off of what Ruben said, I think a really big thing is just not being afraid to admit that you don't know everything. And that when you talk to these communities, just don't be afraid to say, listen, I'm here because I want to understand. I don't understand. So that's why I'm here, so that you can talk to me and tell me what has your community been facing and what can I do to help. And that's just as simple as that, a simple conversation. It doesn't need to be some elaborate scheme or plan. And a lot of times Democrats have been very successful at doing that, just coming, showing up and listening. I don't agree with the result solutions that they've been coming up with, but I think that they've been very successful at least showing up and saying, let's have a conversation. If Republicans do that, I guarantee you will start to see a lot more minorities, people of color start to say, you know what, that option actually looks better. That alternative looks better, but we have to present the alternative. A lot of times we see in Republican circles and so forth, not necessarily saying anybody here, but in Republican circles we see the usual, we're not going to get those votes anyway, let's not even go for them. What's the problem? They're just going to vote Democrat anyway. I can tell you personally that in our churches, at our dinner tables, in our homes, we have been saying for a while now that we know we are being taken advantage of. And we're tired of it, but there is no alternative because nobody's coming to the door. They're not going to do it. If I got, in this election season, I got Democrats knocking all on my doors, and I don't even get one Republican to come, then who am I more likely to vote for? We have to show up and have these conversations. Don't be afraid to say that you don't know something and listen to understand.
The good thing about being the third person in the panel, you get to listen to the other two saying. I can't say any better than he does, but one thing I want to continue on is that you just can't show up once. Every June, every September, not everybody you vote for me, they're looking at you kind of like, again, especially if you're that perpetual candidate like me. But if you continue to be part of their lives somehow, some way, going to the same churches, going to the same restaurants, going to the same businesses, hiring some of them, you have this constant interaction with a certain community. That community, I don't care if it's Hispanic, if it's black, if it's white. If that's the only interaction you're going to have with that one little group, only that little group is going to support you. You want to broaden your base, and you need to reach out and go, to other communities, other areas that, you may feel uncomfortable with. You can't expect them to come to you. You have to go to them. They need someone to vote for. They need someone to believe in. And I chuckle because how many times I've seen a campaign start, and it starts in June, and they knock on one door, that house, and expect that person to vote for them. When the Democrats are going to be knocking 3, 4, 5 times during the next 3 months, and like you said, who do you expect you're going to vote for? Probably not even going to remember your name. So with that being said, I want you to go home tonight thinking, this is not a one-shot deal. You want somebody to support. You have to reach out and show them that you really, really want them to support you.
I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to say there is a difference in the language. And no, it's not simple. I had a Republican tell me, I don't think they knew I was a Republican, so sometimes I get a kick out of it. He said, we're $1 million in debt. I said, so? He said, did you just say so? I said, yeah. I said, because guess what? My family's is maybe $40,000, $50,000 in debt. What's the difference? He said, but we're billions of dollars in debt. I said, debt is debt. Neither one of us can pay it. But this is how I would rephrase it. This is what I do when I talk to people. You know why that factory is empty over there? Why? I said, because some Democrat got some money, put put in a proposal, didn't fix it, took the money, and that's why it's empty. They understand that. They don't care you billions of dollars in debt. They in debt too. See, Republicans talk numbers. And you say numbers is a big thing. No. Not if I'm $50,000 in debt and the state is $30 million in debt, there's no difference. But if you rephrase it and say, well, if they took that money and rebuilt that factory, some of y'all would have jobs. They understand that because they need jobs. Are you planning to go to college? Yeah. What is your interest? Well, I like fixing toilets. I sell, so you might be a plumber. So you might want to go to trade school. But my mother said I have to go to college. No, you go to trade school. Plumbers make good money. I know, because I had to hire one. You get $125 an hour. And you still going to be in college, and they ain't in debt, but you will be. They understand that. You have to come to where they are. I have a saying, Jesus met people at their need. They said, what do you mean? When I talk about Christ, I talk about different things to different people. You know, he fed the multitude. So you have to know how to speak to that community and the need of that community. You know, I often, and it annoys me, because I keep hopping on this when somebody said, well, they won't vote for us because they get public assistance and food stamps. What business is that of yours? Mind your business. You're there to get their vote, not to tell them why they're on food stamps. But if you teach them how to fish, they'll eat and they won't need food stamps. So what I say to them is, listen, one thing about the Republican Party, we're business owners. So you know what? There's a program where you can get in to learn how to run a business. Would you like to open your business? Yes. Let me introduce you to a group of people. They're all Republicans, so you know they're going to become a Republican after a while. So that's how you do it. You got to win them. You know, they often say, well, they don't even like you. I said, hey, I don't even like me half of the time. I said, but guess what? When you go to school and you have issues, do any of the Democrats go? They go, no, we call you and you show up and things get fixed real quick. I said, because I'm about solutions. And education is a solution to the problem in the inner city. So if you fix their schools, like the guy in Florida did, they beat the black guy that took them for granted, they said, wow, what did he do different, Ernestine? I said, he knocked on their door. He did it for 2 years. He had meetings with them. He didn't wait till election to come knock on my door. You know what people told me? I was the first African-American Republican that they've seen. And I was the only Republican to knock on their door. And they could tell me the last Republican that ever came to their door. And some of them said they'd never seen anybody in 20 and 30 years. We need to be ashamed of ourselves. That young man over there, Bob Bell, is my driver. Because I don't drive, because I have road rage, and it's really worse than my attitude. And, you know, what I showed him was not to be afraid of projects, not to be afraid of housing. People live there. And go door to door. I went door to door. They said, you didn't win the mayor's race. And I smiled. I said, sure I did. They said, why? I said, because I've been 11,300 and something voters that never knew my name. I said, and guess what? When they wanted a library that cost $9 million, I said to them, not gonna happen, y'all go crazy. And if you do, I'm gonna referendum the whole damn city. And they said, she can't do that. The guy said, well, during her election, she went to 11,000 doors. She can't do it. How did I do it? I put my signs in Spanish and in English. Yes, this is America, and yes, they should know English, but it doesn't mean that they can read in English. So I was the first African-American candidate to have signs in Spanish and English. And I said, when I run again, I'm gonna have English and Italian, I'm gonna have English and Aramaic. Why? Because I want to engage them. I want to get to know them. And the only way that I can do that is if I learn who they are. And then tell them this is how the Americans, we all Americans. But I can't do that unless I learn them first.
So speak to the needs of the community, speak to them in their language, and also show them the real-life examples of the corruption. Bernard.
All right, after all that was said, in that district, you will win over the vote. You will actually engage those voters. They'll be ready to talk to you when they actually cast their vote and actually walk out. They'll actually stay there and keep talking to you. So it is all like the assumption and the thing about it. Republicans have to work harder. So we have to work harder in engaging our voters, and we have to keep doing it.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to go talk about next, is actually some of the important myths that actually people think about Republicans, because they think we don't care. They think we want to take this, that, and this, that, and the other thing away from them. But it's really, many times it's not the case. So what are some of the most important myths about Republicans that we need to dispel when we go into these communities? And how can, so that our candidates can start gaining ground and start winning some of these elections?
One of the things that we need to start doing is, look, in 2016, Donald Trump lost the 5th district, and I speak about the 5th district, 13,000 votes. Those 13,000 votes came from the cities, right? So now, how can we turn that around is with the communication. It's always about communication with these cities. If we don't communicate, how they're going to know who are respecting? We have to, they have to come back to us. I'm from Waterbury. I've been in Waterbury for 20 years. I grew up in Chicago, so it's even more bigger city, and I learned through the process of reaching out. If we don't reach out to them, how are they going to know what we stand for? And that's one of the keys that we need to do, is how are we going to look into them and say, look, this is the same values that you have in your family. This is the way that we proceed in gaining those votes to our side. And the Republican Party has forgotten about that. We just concentrate in suburb areas, let's concentrate in this person, and we have to teach them that we're not rich. They always say, you guys are rich people, you guys are running for the rich people, and it's a lie, because trust me. But that's what the Democrats do to them. Democrats teach them. They teach these people that we're the rich people, and they...
Yeah, while they take millions of dollars from the biggest lobbies in the state.
One of the biggest things that I always look at is when you go there and you are with the Republicans and they say, well, they have a machine that you do this and that. Well, let's build one. Let's build a machine like they have, because that's how we are going to win in those cities, like voter fraud in Bridgeport, every other city. That's how they build up. We cannot give up. We need to start going to those cities and go to those leaders and talk to them.
Another big myth that people are taught pretty much since birth is that Republicans are racist. That's a huge one. And I think that a big way to debunk that is, again, to show up and talk and conversate and just be present and showing them that you're not racist. It's like a ghost story almost when you have Democrats telling them all their lives, Republicans are racist, don't go over there, they're racist, this and that. And like some people have said up here today that they've never had a Republican come to their door and so forth, and God knows how many years, or if ever. If they've been told this lie again and again and again, and they've never seen one, it's like a ghost story. It's like, I'm just being told this and this and this, and I've never seen the alternative to see that when a Republican comes to my door, they treat me more respectfully than some Democrats do. Like, if they never have that experience, then they'll believe it, and they'll always have that perception in their head, ingrained in their head, until they find a reality that contradicts that. And once they see that reality, their entire perception will be changed. They'll start to really rethink what they were taught and really say, you know what, that wasn't the truth. What else am I being taught by this party that's been telling me these things that's not the truth? And so that's really the biggest thing, is just showing up and disprove it. Disprove all the lies that Republicans are racist, that Republicans only care about the rich. You have to be able to fight back and say, no, that's not true. They're lying to you. This is who I am.
I think one of the biggest myths that I have encountered as a member of the Republican Party is this myth about the Republican Party being anti-immigration. And I just want to point out some facts for you. the last president to grant amnesty to all immigrants, illegal and legal, was Ronald Reagan, Mr. Republican himself. Okay. Another thing we all should consider as Republicans, and why so many Republicans in the past have been supporting legal immigration, is because society as a whole spends about $750,000 plus or minus on a child to the point when they're 18, when they can go out to the workforce. So you're talking about $750,000 to create one worker in 18 years' time. That guy that gets off that airport at JFK, gets on the tarmac, came up here from El Salvador, he's ready to work on day one, and we haven't even spent a penny. So it's a natural tendency for a lot of factory owners and a lot of big businesses to want immigration, and again, legal immigration. This new concept that we've always been anti-immigration, in the past couple of years, we've seen the intentions of the Democratic Party to allow everybody to vote, give everybody a driver's license. Now that driver's license entitles you to vote, even though technically you're not supposed to. It's still a violation of federal law. But this was always their intention. Now we're becoming reactionary. Like, wait a second, it's not fair, But the Democratic Party and the backbone of that party is the union. And make no bones about it. If you're in the private sector unions, that union was anti-immigration. And it always has been, and it always will be, because you know what? Those immigrants that are coming up from south of the border or coming in from Eastern Europe, they're not used to unions. They don't like paying union dues. They are not union members. They want to determine their own wages. They're very entrepreneurial, like we Republicans. The Democrats' base, the union, are the biggest anti-immigration bloc. That's why every single Democratic president, when you listen to their speeches and they're talking about illegal immigration, they come out pretty hard on, even Obama, hard against illegal immigration. Bill Clinton, he was hard. And we get painted with one brush as if we're anti-immigration just because we dare say, wait a second, that's not illegal, And the process is very cumbersome. When George W. Bush was president, it wasn't as expensive. Barack Obama became president, it became extremely expensive. And it's an arduous journey. My wife was even denied citizenship. It's not that easy, and we didn't make it that way. The Democratic Party has put these roadblocks up to make immigration even harder and harder and harder. And they consider it 12 all they like, but they have the opportunity. They've had the opportunity to make immigration a flawless process, and they haven't, and they will not, because again, they are the party that is not pro-immigrant. They are the party that continuously, because they have their bread and butter are the unions, and they will not let that go. And just keep that in mind.
I will say this, stop becoming a myth, and they wouldn't have a myth to pass on. That's the problem. We have became the myth. And when you don't go to these communities, our communities, and stand up and knock on doors and talk to people, you become the myth. We are the problem. The Democrats are the problem. They do their job very well. I can tell you who all they are, and they know who I am. I have more of them that reach out to me than Republicans reach out to me. That's a problem. I ran an election, and my biggest problems were the Republicans. We don't want to hear that. I don't like her because I don't like what she says. I should vote for her, sign her petition, but I don't like her. She's not a good Republican. Well, who died and said you God? And I'm serious. These are the things that I've experienced. Don't knock on my door. Aren't you a Republican? Yeah, so am I. Then I get the people that want to speak for me. How do you know? Do you live in my community? No. So how do you speak for me then? I'm African American and Latino. You only know I speak Spanish when you make me angry. It comes out fluently, right, Mark?
Yes, it does.
But I do want to tell you this. My mother's 73. Oh, she might get me for that one. And she's never seen a Republican knock on her door. I lived in the housing development 30 years of my life. The only Republican I knew was my pastor. I didn't know anybody else. If you want to change the narrative, you change it. You change it. Hip-hop is the biggest example. They never went in everybody's community, but they played music that everybody liked. They managed to do something that no other music has been able to do. Whether we like them or not, because I can't stand them. But they managed to get in everybody's community. Even the ones that don't speak English can quote a rap album to you or CD. We need to look at some of their things that they do. I didn't say follow them, because God knows, please don't follow them. But look at how they did it. Run DMC is the biggest example. They wanted to cross over, they teamed up with Aerosmith, made a record back then. Made a record, and it went everywhere. My friend is Polish, don't even speak English. Couldn't even speak English, but she knew that record. So we have to be like that. I get people when I'm that says, well, I'm surprised that you're African American and Republican. I'm like, are you stupid? Don't say that either. But I said, are you crazy? They go, no, for real. You're the only African American Republican that I know. I said, then that's a problem, so you should get to know us. And no, we all do not think alike. That's the myth too, that we all have the same ideology. That is not true. But if you get to know the different communities, because guess what? The African American community, just like the Latin community, are not all the same. The Caribbeans don't think the same. The Haitians don't think the same. And by the way, if you think that I'm black and I'm a Republican and they like me, I got news for you. No, you don't. They don't like me just like they don't like you. But you know what I do? I show up at their meetings. I sit there. No, you would not be doing that because that's illegal. The other myth is that African Americans don't want to go and get permits. Well, I joked with CCDL. I said, yeah, we want permits. We just don't know how to do it. So what did they do? They created things where people can go to their website, talk to other people. They became friendly to the community. And that's what you have to do. You have to learn to become friendly. When you become friendlier and stop talking business, the Republican Party, this is what I want everybody to know. We do not, this is not a business, this is not your personal business. We don't, the problem is that we also promote our business. No, we want to promote the party. As soon as we learn to get along, to go along, to work with each other in spite of our differences, how do we expect them to come in and we can't even like each other? I may not like you, but guess what? I can respect you. And I'm going to pick on Rob Sampson, the senator, for a minute. We don't always agree. But guess what? I'm not going to let another Democrat beat up on him either. And I'm not going to let another Republican talk about him either. We're different, but at the end of the day, he's a fellow Republican. And if we don't learn how to do that and stick together as the Dems, we will never win. I don't care if you got the best candidate in the world. The Dems are good at this. They beat each other up when they're running in their primaries, but they know how to lick their wounds and get in line. We have not learned how to do that yet. And until we learn how to do that with our own, because we beat up each other and don't know how to say, okay, the primary is over, let us line up, we will never win. And that's the key to us.
Actually, the quote in our program about that is a quote from Benjamin Franklin saying, if we do not hang together, we will most surely hang separately. So
So another myth party is using me, because I'm a black male in the city of Waterbury, why is the party using me? Perhaps I want to work with the party, learn about the party, and actually represent my district. And the only way I can do it is if I'm accepted by a party to actually run in the election. So what are you talking about? The Republican Party is using me. The Republican Party is not using me. All right. I put that the Democratic Party has definitely taken advantage of us. Okay. A lot of people are upset about the different quotes that we hear from other Republicans, our national Republicans, our president. What do you have to lose? Think about that statement. What do you have to lose? Don't get too emotional about it. Don't think about the numbers. But what does that population have to lose by continuing to keep voting for the same thing over and over and over again? Those same leaders that are actually not being held, accountable in certain districts. And guess what? The thing about it is that those districts that they serve happen to be, like a minority district. So guess what? Obviously, you need to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing in that district, regardless of what the population that they serve. So I just want to say the Republican Party is not using me. Okay, they're not using me. Okay, the Republican Party in Waterbury have allowed me to run. They allow me to work. They allow me to give my contributions and see something from the party and bring up the issues that I'm concerned with, the party is concerned with, and the rest of the folks in Waterbury are concerned with. Okay, so that's why I am a black Republican, and I'm happy where I'm at. I'm very happy where I'm at. I wasted a lot of time in my younger years. I wasted a lot of time. Those days are over. So I'm just going to keep moving forward.
Right. Jog people's ways of thinking, and I actually came up with a question of my own regarding that, and I'd like to tie that in with a question that we got from the audience. Is what can non-candidate Republicans, the regular rank and file, from either outside or inside the urban areas, do to help start or continue our conversation in these urban areas? And some of the thought-provoking questions that some of the best thought-provoking questions I've seen over time are: is this what you want for your children? Do you really want to leave a legacy of broken families, broken schools, broken dreams? Who is the best decider for your children? Who know them best? You who know them best and love them unconditionally, or some faceless bureaucrat who's never met them and wouldn't even be able to pronounce their name? For immigrants in particular, is your present situation what you or your parents sacrificed for in coming here? I mean, there's a lot of great thought-provoking questions that we can use to penetrate people's minds. I want to know if you have any of your own that our folks can use to go out and start having these conversations with these folks.
Well, I have my son here today. Just doesn't know anything about politics. And this is the way that we start. Family values. In our way, and Latino communities, and I know the minority community, is values, family values. How important it is to raise a kid in a good environment, with jobs, education. This is the way that we need to bring our communities together. Okay, so my way of doing it is I will speak about the way the family works. How we can teach our kids the learning, the process. How we're gonna teach them how to vote, because it's important. We're losing that. We're losing that momentum. Our new generation is just going by emotions. And we have to start. We got to teach them. This is how he knows, and my other two daughters know, that I don't tell them, you have to be a Republican. I let them learn by themselves what party they're going to choose. Okay? So that's the way they understand how I came from being a Republican and how they're going to go forward. And this is the way that we started my family. My father was in politics in Puerto Rico. Trust me, Puerto Rico, they teach you even when you're young. I went with my father at 11 years old, 2 meetings, and to collect money to candidates in the street with a little bucket, asking for money. So it's the way that we do it.
So you're part of your own kitty brigade.
Oh, yeah. So in Puerto Rico, they teach politics in Puerto Rico is you learn from the beginning. In Puerto Rico, 90% of the voters go on election day and vote because we teach them since they're young. And that's how we got to teach our generations. That's how I do it. Family to me is the most important thing, to teach our people to go out. And that's how we got to go. We all hear conservative. That's the first key to teach a Latino community, in my case, the Latino community, how to vote Republican. Because the family is really important for them. Immigration are the same thing, because they know their fathers came across that border, and they're here, they're born here, but they're in that group. So that's the way that I, myself, teach the people that I go and talk about family. When you go out there and talk about family, it's really important. It goes to their heart.
Yeah, family's huge. I mean, I give credit to my father who's here today, Edward Ford Sr. I have to thank my dad publicly for how he raised me. He was a military man, did 20 years in the United States Army. We're pastoring a church in Waterbury, and I was just raised with values, conservative values, in our family. And it just taught me a lot of things about, so when I went off to college, how to really survive and get through. You know what I'm saying? I don't always have the room to run to a safe space when things are going or hitting the wall, or and when things are getting tough. I have to learn how to really hunker down and get through that moment. And it was my family values, my faith in God, and my conservative values that really helped me get through those times. Any tough time that myself and my family would have had to go through. So family is huge in teaching those values. Education in general. Educate yourselves. Educate your children. Educate those who are willing to listen and learn and so forth. Because once we start to become educated and understand, grab a holistic understanding of other communities, what they feel, what it is that you were raised with, and you bring that together, you're going to find a lot of commonalities. Like I said, I just said how we were a religious component, how we go to church. Well, Republican Party wants to protect religious freedoms. That's one thing right there. Just one thing that I name off the top of my head that I can find that had to originate with family values that led my views a certain way. So that's very huge. I think also understanding this, that people are not monolithic. That goes for our party. And I don't know if this is going off the question a little bit or not, but I really just want to stress that we are not a monolith. That goes for everybody in this party. That goes for black people, Latino people, and white people. It doesn't matter. Some people are going to think a little bit more conservatively. Some people may be a little bit more moderate. Some people may be a little bit more liberal. But at least we can come to the table and understand, to have a conversation and educate ourselves before we go further. I think also when it comes to this younger generation, a big reason why a lot of them are leaning so much towards socialism is because of that lack of education. So let's really emphasize that in this next decade. We're starting fresh. We're starting a new decade, 2020, right? So let's start fresh and really emphasizing the importance of education and the history of socialism, capitalism, what those things look like and mean.
Yeah, exactly. We have a chance to create another roaring 20s right now in this century. So, yeah, another one of the great questions that I've come across again when I'm speaking to people is, why repeat here what failed in your homeland? Many of these people came from socialist paradises and they end up voting for it here, and that's something that we need to break. So what are some of these? How else can we break through to these folks? And what another question just came in is, what would probably be the most important issue that we can use to break through?
Before I answer that question, just remind you, every person that I've met that's come from a communist country does not want to see socialism, does not want to see God. It's just the third, fourth generation American kid that wants socialism because his teachers have been telling him how good it is. But with that being said, what can we, the average individual party member, do to help the party go forward? And the best way to do that is to be engaged. Participate in the party by helping the party campaign, and that's great. But you also got to engage your fellow citizens in the community. I mean, everything from, the to Columbus, to Maine, all these little groups are out there, all these little activities, these community events that are out there. If you want to help the Republican Party, help it broaden its base, its coverage, so to speak. Also, when you hear about these events, maybe that you're going to, maybe you want to tell your local state rep or state senator or common council candidate, hey, I'm going to, St. Aloysius's, bake sale. Why don't you come with me and meet some of the people? The more we get out there and make contact with the constituency, the stronger that candidate gets. One thing to remind us all is that politics is local. All politics is local. Granted, the good thing is next year you have a presidential election, and it's going to be heated, and it's going to be dramatic. But you know what? Everybody's going to come out probably. Now, 2 years ago, the same thing happened. Donald Trump lost to Clinton in Fairfield County by a much wider margin than Stephanowski did to Lamont. But when Donald Trump was on the ballot, everybody came out to vote. And you know what? The Republicans did extremely well in that county. In fact, the State House was nearly even. The State Senate was even. And the races, there were a number of races that Democrats won by only a few votes. And Donald Trump was on the ballot. 2 years later, that's when I won. And 2 years later, when I ran for re-election, not so many people came out to vote. The kid that I beat 2 years earlier in the presidential election period got less votes 2 years later, but was able to still beat me because I got a lot less votes. The Republican Party in Fairfield County just didn't make it to the polls. For whatever reason, we all have our own individual hypothesis, just didn't make it. What I'm saying that we need to do is have a much broader engagement policy in the urban areas, in the suburban areas. But each and every one of you needs to be a community activist. Needs to participate in some way, somehow.
Yeah, Will Duff brings up an excellent point about the social groups because, and actually this is something I came across when I was trying to do some research on this topic. There was a great book written by Mike Gonzalez called Races for the Future. It was targeted toward the Hispanic vote, but I think it applies to the inner city vote no matter where you go. And he talked about the lack of 3 different types of capital that people in these cities have. It's the financial capital, which is obviously money and jobs, human capital, which is the education, the acquired skills that they can get, and also the social capital, the church groups, the families, the sports, the Scouts, PTA, and everything like that. We're going to have to wrap things up, but I can't leave you guys out of here without asking this one final question.
Excuse me, let me say something. You lost Fairfield County, and I'm getting ready to tell you how you lost it. Listen up. You lost Fairfield County because it's next. That's where all the preachers live. That's where most of the bishops live. That's where. So if you don't reach out to the church, see, because I didn't have a family. My mother was a single mom. I grew up in foster care. The only Republican I seen was my pastor. So was the extended family. And you have to learn to look at it through my eyes. See, I didn't become a Republican because I saw a bunch of Republicans. I became a Republican because the only male that I saw that actually were trying to do something in my community was my pastor. I had him. And if you got to know him and you see him talk without looking at his color, you'd be like, Dad, she really sounds like him. White guy, tall, long hair, looked like that picture that they call Jesus. Can't get no whiter than him, Idaho white. But he had a bunch of Black and Latino children that grew up to model him. Even though David Dinkins, I was on the youth advisory board, and he was a Democrat, I followed the Republicans. I want you to hear that. I lived in the inner city, didn't see any Republicans, but the only Republican that I saw was a pastor that I emulated his personality. That's who I saw as a dad. I didn't have that family that everybody up here had. My father was a criminal. He dead now, so I can talk about it. My mom did the best that she can with limited education. This is where we're losing. This is where we're losing. Those foster care kids, they grow up and they And black people are synonymous for this. If they don't like you, and here's the key, get them to dislike the other candidate. Because if they don't like you, guess what? They'll come out and vote. I've seen it. I've seen them little old ladies. See, this is what y'all don't understand about the black community. The community center, those little black old ladies that know everybody's name, that whoop everybody, that pinch everybody, those are the keys to the community. It ain't the politician. It's them little old ladies that run the community, those activists like Brenda just was over here. We're the key. And if we don't like you, they go, what do you think about so-and-so? Girl, don't be putting that person in office. They crazy. They tend to listen to me quicker. And that's what you gotta be. You gotta be an activist. You gotta be in everybody's house. You gotta be in every conversation. How do you do that? Go to that church. Go to that church. Go to the YMCA. How can I help you? How can I volunteer? You don't even have to say that you're a Republican. I didn't even know my pastor was a Republican until I got about 20 years old. But what I knew was I wanted somebody that can show me how to do this thing called life correctly. I raised 5 girls, but 2 biological daughters. One talks like a Republican, and you know she ain't Democrat when you hear her talk. And then I got one Republican that hates the Republican Party. And she's a Republican. And I asked her why. You know what she said? You think I don't see how they treat you? You think I don't see how they talk about Ruben? And I was shocked because she knew everybody's name. She knew candidates that I didn't even know that were Republican. So what she did was she heard the way all of us talk and what we do to each other and decided, Mom, I'm going to switch parties. Okay, to who? I'm going to become libertarian. I started laughing at her. But what she said was, Mommy, I see how they treat you. They don't like you because you don't fit the Republican mold. And what I said to her is this. There's a group called the Magnificent Seven. And I want you all to get the book. I didn't bring it, but there's a book that talks about all the African American Republicans. And the Magnificent Seven, they came out of slavery into the party. And what I said to him was, well, I read their, I call it dissertation because I couldn't even understand it. I said, you need a dictionary, a thesaurus, and some other books to understand what they were talking about. And so you don't speak their language either, so that means you're not a good Republican either. And he looked at me. Here's the problem. Those are the people who you want that don't necessarily speak the Republican language, but have Republican values and don't know that they're actually Republicans. Because if you sit down and you talk to them, they're entrepreneurship. They want to own businesses. No, they don't want anybody getting handouts. They tired of paying $2,000 rent and somebody down the hallway paying $200. They have the same issues you have. So just learn about them. Yes, I am different. Yes, I'm a little for Cocoa Puffs, but guess what? I managed to do some things that you didn't do. Guess what? I go out to the community. I throw parties for free. I don't charge anybody anything. They said, why do you throw parties? How do you think I know what's going on in the whole city of Meriden with 66,000 people? I know that because when I give those book bag parties, I talk to them kids and tell them what's going on. Where do I need to help you? How can I help your mother? What can I do for you? And that's how you win them over.
All right, thank you very much for that. So before we go, we're just going to wrap up with one more final question because I can't let you guys go before we deal with the biggest elephant in the room. And you guys have already mentioned this, that Trump is actually going to be on the ballot this year. Some people see that as a hindrance, some see that as a plus. So should our candidates ride his coattails? Should they avoid them completely as if they're a bed of hot coals? Or do something in between? Ruben, we'll start with you and we'll bring it back. I'm sorry, Ruben, so you can bring it back.
30 seconds each.
Yes.
Big question. I would say that our Republican candidates here in Connecticut need to vote their own conscience. I don't think riding the president's coattail would make things necessarily great for them as far as numbers and turnout. I'm not saying that it may not do something as far as like his, his or her turnout, but they have to just use their conscience and move on and think about Connecticut. Always put our state first and talk about things that you're able to do today and now, and also, like for the future. future of our party and like the future of your the districts that you plan on serving. So that's my final answer on that one.
I'm gonna tell you what I say. The president don't run Connecticut. We do. I don't care you don't like him. I tell him all the time. I don't care you don't like him. But guess what? Insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results. So if you want to keep living in poverty, you don't want to have any jobs, and you want poor education, then vote the way you've been voting. And they look at me and go, did you just say that? Yeah. But if you want change, nothing changes if you don't change. And that's what I tell them. Well, the president said this and this and this and that. I said, so Obama said he gave DACA an open invitation. I said, yeah, but did he give him a chance to become a citizen? And they go, yeah, they're not citizens. I said, so what good was it? And that's what you have to do. Say to them, okay, you got this, but what did it benefit? Is it working for you? Are you a citizen? They go, no. I said, well, it didn't work. And that's how you do it.
Well, I'm actually quite excited for the Republican Party that Donald Trump is going to be on the ballot. 3 years ago, when I ran for state assembly, the 2nd District actually elected me a very, very conservative Republican to represent them up at the General Assembly. The way that is done, when everybody's coming out to vote, every candidate that has the largest social network and social reach, I'm not talking about Facebook, Twitter, I'm actually physical contact. People know your name, they know your face. Those are the candidates that are going to do extremely well. The reason why, 3.5 years ago, the Republican Party nearly took the assembly was we fielded a group of candidates of such caliber that they had that social reach, that they were connected to the community. They weren't just these one-and-done candidates that pop up out of nowhere because they just moved in from, California. Yeah, these were people that everybody could associate with, they could connect to, and they won. So it had been Donald Trump. He didn't do that well, in Connecticut, but yet the Republican Party did do well. So when I know the media's going to be pushing down that narrative that Donald Trump's on the ballot, ooh, you're going to get crushed. It's not going to happen. You watch.
I think that every candidate needs to run as who they are as an individual. Me personally, when I tell a lot of people I'm a Republican, they always ask that question, Donald Trump? And I tell them, I say, I'm not Donald Trump, I'm Ed Ford. And I run based off of my policy. I disagree with the president on several things, and I'm not afraid to say that, because I don't make my policy based off of a person. I make it based off of my values. And it's going to be the same. It's the same before he was president. It's going to be the same after he's president. So it's not going to change based off of him. I'll say if I disagree with something he says or does, because to me it's about the policy and the principle over the person. And I think that we have to have room for that in the Republican Party. You see a lot that happens on the national level. People get beat up when they try to say, provide criticism or so forth in the party, and that shouldn't happen. I feel like we should have a big tent mentality to have people who are able to think moderately, think conservatively, think whatever way you want in the party. We should have room to welcome people of different ideological perspectives. And I think that also, going back to what Ernestine was said, I'll end with this, will help welcome some people of color into the party, because again, we are about ideas, not a person. So people of color don't specifically favor Donald Trump in a large majority, but they may favor your conservative ideas. You need to think about that and say, you know what? Let's talk just you and I, not about Donald Trump.
I guess I'll be doing the last one, even though I'm running for Congress myself. So.
Yeah, this will pertain heavily to you.
Yeah, it's to me.
They will definitely tie you to him. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would say this. What Ed said is all true. But one of the things that I have to tell you guys is each person is going to have the state reps and the state senates. Talk about what the state has to do. Leave the national thing to the Congress. Well, we're not running with senates this year. So it's going to be Trump, and then it's going to be the congressperson, and then state senate, and so on. I recommend people to talk about, if you're running for state rep, if you're running for state senate, talk about Net Lemon and the things that are going on in Connecticut. The national level, leave that to the national people. And we'll go organization, this national organization, Donald Trump in 2016 got 28% of the Latino community. This year around, so far, is going to 34. And he probably by the end of the primaries and August, September, he will go on more. So he's reaching out to those people. So he's reaching out to them. But my recommendation is the national stuff about Trump and all this stuff, leave it to the national Congress people, and the state level, leave it to the state Senate and state reps.
Thank you very much, guys, for all of your input. I will add one more thing to this very question, because I actually saw a very good fireside chat by Dennis Prager this week. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but he spoke to this very issue himself as well. And he asked, well, if a fireman is coming to your house to put out the fire, do you care if he cheated on his wife, or do you care if he didn't put out the fire?
What up, Frank?
Exactly. So if you can phrase it in a way with these folks, whenever they do come up to you about Donald Trump and talk about his character, remind people what he's actually been doing for the country. And I think we can win hearts and minds that way as well. So thank you very much for everyone. Thank you,
We're going to take a quick